Hi friends, in this section we are going to see the chapter Real Numbers. Some of the concepts you have already learned in your previous classes, that is in your smaller classes you have learned some of the concepts that you already know. So we will quickly revise all these concepts. So first concept, natural numbers. The numbers which we are using for counting is known as what? Natural number, that is 1, 2, 3 and so on. When we put 0 to it, it becomes whole number, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. When we put negative numbers to it, it becomes integers. So that means 0, 1, 2, 3 and before 0 when we put minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on, it becomes integers. When this integers, when we write it in the form of a fraction form, that is p upon q, where q should not be equal to 0, it becomes rational numbers. And the rational numbers which cannot be expressed in the form of p upon q, it becomes irrational numbers, and irrational numbers decimal forms are non-terminating and non-recurring. This entire concept is covered under real number, that is natural number, whole number, integers, rational number, irrational numbers together forms a real numbers. Again, some concepts are there which you have already you know it, so we'll quickly revise those concepts. The first one is even numbers. The natural numbers which are in the form of 2 raised to n form is called as what? Even number. That means suppose if I am putting the value of n as 2. So 2 into 2 it is equal to 4. So 4 is an even number. So in such way 2, 4, 6 and so on are even numbers. Now what is odd number? The natural numbers which are in the form of 2n minus 1 is called as what? Odd number. That means suppose if I am putting the value of n as 1. So 2 into 1, 2 minus 1, it is giving 1. So it is an odd number. So odd number is 1, 3, 5 and so on. Prime numbers. The natural number which is greater than 1 and which is divisible by 1 and the number itself is called as what? Prime number. That means the prime numbers, it is having factor 1 and the number itself, it is called as what? Prime number. We will take the example 2. You know 2 is a prime number because it has a factor 1 and the number 2 as its factor. So 1, 2 is the only two factors coming under it, so it is a prime number. Composite number. What is composite number? The natural numbers which is having the factors 1 and any other number or numbers is called as what? Composite number. That means suppose if I am taking 6, so we can see the factors 1, 2, 3, 6. So there are 1 as well as there are more than 2 numbers its factor. So it is called as what? Composite numbers. And one more thing is that 1 is neither a prime nor a composite number. This all the concepts you have already learned in your previous class. Now the concepts which are new to you is, the first one is Euclid's division lemma. What is Euclid's division lemma? It is the simplest form, that is which we have already learned. It is dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. This is nothing but our Euclid's division lemma. In Euclid's division lemma, it is in the form of A is equal to BQ plus R, where it should be 0 less than equal to R less than equal to B. Here the two positive integers are there, which is A and B. Both are positive integers and there exists a unique integer which should satisfy A is equal to BQ plus R. Now how to apply lemma, that we will see. Now Euclid's division lemma is applied to find the HCF of two positive integers. That means we are using this division lemma to find out the HCF of two positive integers. To understand it, we will take example. Now example is that 56 and 72, we have to find the HCF of it. How we will find it out? Let's see. For the finding the HCF of 56 and 72, the steps are apply lemma to 56 and 72. That means first we are applying lemma to 56 and 72. Now we will take a bigger number and locate B and R. Here you can see B is 56 and R is 16. So 72 is equal to 56 into 1 plus 16. So here our dividend is 72. 56 divisor, 1 is quotient and 16 is remainder. Now you can see remainder 16, it is not equal to 0. That means again we can divide it, so it becomes, so here our next dividend is 56, our divisor will be 16, quotient is 3 and remainder is 8. That is 56 is equal to 16 into 3 plus 8. Again here remainder is not equal to 0. Again we can divide it. So it becomes 16 is dividend is equal to 8 divisor into quotient 2 plus 0. Now we got the remainder here as 0. So as our remainder is 0, so the HCF of 56 and 72 is 8. That is our divisor. It becomes our HCF of 56 and 72. Now next concept is that how to construct a factority. That means we have to factorize a number. How we can factorize it? We will see step by step. First we will see the steps, then we will see how to solve it. Write the number as a product of prime number and a composite number. Begin with the smallest prime number. Third, prime numbers are always on left hand side of the factor tree. Do not move to the next prime if it is still divides by the same prime number. Now repeat the process till all the primes are obtained. Now we will see how it is solved. On the your right hand side you can see an example 48. So 48, the smallest prime number is 2. Where you can see 2, it divides with 48. So 2 2's are 4, 2 4's are 8. So 24. Again you can see 24, it gets divided by 2. So 2 12. So again 12, it gets divided by 2. It is 2 6. Again 6 gets divided by 2. 2 3. Now 3, it never gets divided by 2. So the next smallest prime number will be 3. So 3 3. So the factors which are prime factorization of 48 is equal to 2 2 2 2. That is 2 raised to 4 into 3. Our next concept is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Here every composite numbers can be expressed as the product of prime, and this expression is unique apart from the order in which they appear. Now here every composite can be expressed in the product of primes, and in the order, and the orders and the expressions are very unique in which they appear. Now we will see how this fundamental theorem of arithmetic is applied. Now first application is to locate HCF and LCM of 2 or more positive integers. Now the fundamental theorem is first applied to locate the HCF and LCM of 2 or more positive integers. Now the steps for it is factorize each of the given positive integers and express them as a product of power of primes in the ascending order of magnitude of prime. That means each prime, it's in the product form and we are arranging it in ascending form. To find HCF, second step, to find HCF, identify common factor and the least powers and multiply them to get HCF. That means whatever the common prime factors are that we have to identify, and the least power we have to identify, and we have to multiply them to get our HCF. Now the third step is to find LCM. That means the greatest exponent means greatest power that we have to find, and we have to multiply it, then we will get LCM of the number. Now the second application is to prove the irrationality of number. That means where the number is irrational, to prove that here also we are using the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So the step, it will be applied in the sum or a difference of a rational and an irrational number is irrational. That means the sum plus, when we plus or minus a rational and an irrational number, it becomes irrational. The product or quotient of a non-zero rational number and an irrational number is irrational. That means the product or the quotient of a non-zero rational number and an irrational number, it is also what? Irrational. Now third, it is applied in to determine the nature of the decimal expansion of rational number. That means the decimal term, whether it how many times it expands, there we are using the fundamental theorem. Now let's say the first one. Let x is equal to p upon q. P and Q are our co-primes. Here it be a rational number. Here the decimal is terminating. Then what will happen? Then the prime factorization of Q is of the form, it will be in the form of 2 raised to m into 5 raised to n, and here m and n are non-negative integers. Second one, let x is equal to p upon q. It is a rational number. Here the prime factorization q will not be in the form of 2 raised to m into 5 raised to n, and m and n it is non-negative integer. Therefore x and x will be non-terminating and it will be a repeating decimal expansion. Now these are all the concepts which we have covered. Now one by one we will try to solve the sums based on it. So first we will solve one more question. So our first question is, the decimal expansion of the rational number 43 upon 2 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 3 will terminate after how many places of decimal? That means this rational number we have to find out that by how many place the decimal number is going to terminate. Now this question has appeared in the year 2013. So we will solve it. 43 upon 2 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 3. Here you can see both the powers are different, so we will make it same. So what we will do, we will multiply 5 raised to 1 on the numerator and denominator. So it becomes 43 upon 2 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 3 into 5 raised to 1 upon 5 raised to 1. Now 43, 5 raised to 1 it is 5. So 43 into 5, 2 raised to 4 into 5 raised to 3 plus 5 raised to 1, it becomes 5 raised to 4. So 43 into 5, it becomes 215 upon 2 into 5, it becomes 10 and the power is same. So it becomes 10 raised to 4. So by how many place the decimal will terminate? After 4 place the decimal will terminate. Now the next question is, express 98 as a product of its prime. Now we express 98 as a product, that means the factorization method we have to follow. So how we will do? 98 is equal to the smallest prime number 2, it get divisible by 98, so it is 2 into 49. 49 it is not divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it is divisible by now 7, so 7 into 7. Again 7 it will be divisible by 7, it will be 7 into 1. Therefore 98 is equal to 2 into 7 into 7, it is nothing but 7 raised to 2. So our factors are 2 into 7 raised to 2. Now the next question is, if the HCF of 408 and 1032 is expressible in the form of 1032 into 2 plus 408 into P, then find the value of P. Now here HCF is given and it is expressed in the form of 1032 into 2 plus 408 into P. And here now we have to find the value of P. Now the highest common factor of 408 and 1032 is 24. So now we will put that form. So it is nothing but 103 into 2 plus 408 into P, which is equal to 24. So 1032 into 2 it is 2064 minus we will take the 24 on the other side, it becomes minus 24, which is equal to 408p. We will take on the other side, it becomes minus 408p. So 2064 minus 24 is equal to 2040, which is equal to minus 408 upon p. Now when we take 408 on the other side, it divides, so it becomes P is equal to minus 2040 upon 408. Therefore when we divide it, we get the value of P is equal to minus 5. Now we see how to solve the 2 mark questions. So the first question is, HCF and LCM of 2 numbers is 9 and 459 respectively. If one of the numbers is 27, find the other number. Now this question has appeared in the year 2012. Here HCF and LCM of 2 numbers are given, that is 9 and 459, and it is said that the one number is 27. Now we have to find the other number. We know first number into second number is equal to nothing but HCF into LCM. Now you know the first number, it is 27. Now we have to find the second number. So we will write it as it is into second number is equal to HCF into LCM. It is already given in the question, that is 9 into 459. Therefore, second number is equal to 9 into 459. When we take 27 on the other side, it becomes divides to 9 into 459 upon 27. Therefore, the second number is equal to 153. Now the next question is find HCF and LCM of 13 and 17 by prime factorization method. This question has appeared in the year 2013. Now we have to find HCF and LCM of 13 and 17 and we have to use the method of prime factorization method. So 13, it is a prime number, you know, it will be divisible by 1 and the number itself. So 13 into 1 into 13. Again 17 is also a prime number, it is divisible by the number 1 and the number itself. So it is 17 into 1 into 17. So the HCF will be, the common highest factor is 1. So HCF is 1. The LCM, the least common factor, is 13 into 17. So therefore LCM is equal to 221. So HCF is 1, LCM is 221. Now the next question is find LCM of numbers whose prime factorization are expressible as 3 into 5 raised to 2 and 3 raised to 2 into 7 raised to 2. Now this question has appeared in the year 2014. Now to find the LCM and the number is expressed in the form of 3 into 5 raised to 2 and 3 raised to 2 into 7 raised to 2. Now the LCM, you know, 3 into 5 raised to 2, that is, and 3 raised to 2 into 7 raised to 2, which is equal to, now the least common multiples here are 3 raised to 2 into 5 raised to 2 into 7 raised to 2. You know 3 raised to 2 it is 9, 5 raised to 2 it is 25, 7 raised to 2 is equal to 49. So 9 into 25 into 49, it gives 11,025. Now the next question is find the LCM of 96 and 360 by using fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Now we have to find the LCM of 96 and 360 and we have to apply fundamental theorem of arithmetic. That is, we are factorizing both the numbers to find the LCM. So first we will factorize 96. The smallest prime number, you know, it is 2 and you can see 96 is divisible by 2. So it becomes 48. Again 48 is divisible by 2, it gives 24. Again 24 is divisible by 2, it gives 12. Again 12 is divisible by 2, it gives 6. Again 2 is divisible by 6 is divisible by 2, it gives 3. And 3, it will be divisible by 3. So 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 is nothing but 2 raised to 5 into 3. Now we will factorize 360. So 360, the smallest number, prime number, it is 2. You can see that 2 is divisible, 360 is divisible by 2. So 180. Again 180 is divisible by 2. It is 90. Again 90 is divisible by 2. 45. Now 45 is not divisible by 2. So the next prime number will be 3. You can see 3 is it is divisible. So it gives 15. 15 it is divisible by 3. Again it gives 5. And now 5 is not divisible by 3. So the next number is 5. So 5, 5. So the factors are 2 into 2 into 2. It is 2 raised to 3. 3 into 3 it is 3 raised to 2 into 5. 2 raised to 5 it gives. Now we can take the LCM. So LCM will be 2 raised to 5 into 3 raised to 2 into 5. 2 raised to 5 it is equal to 32. 3 raised to 2 is equal to 9 into 5. Therefore 32 into 9 into 5 is equal to 1440. Now the next question is find the HCF of 865, 255 using Euclid's division lemma. Now this question has appeared in the year 2013. Now we have to find the HCF of 865 and 255. Here you can see 865 is greater than 255. So our dividend will be 865. Divisor will be 255 into quotient is 3 plus 100. You can see remainder is not equal to 0. So we can take 255 as dividend is equal to 100 as divisor into 2 question plus 55 remainder. Again you can solve it because we have not got the remainder 0. So 100 is equal to 55 into 1 plus 45. Again it is not equal to 0. So 55 is equal to 45 into 1 plus 10. Again 10 is not equal to 0. So 45 is equal to 10 into 4 plus 5. Again it is not equal to 0. So again we can solve it. So it becomes 10 is equal to 5 into 2 plus 0. Now we can see we got the remainder as 0. So our divisor, that is 5, it will be the HCF. So HCF of 865 and 255 is 5. Now the next question is, find the largest number which divides 70 and 125, leaving remainder 5 and 8 respectively. Now this question has appeared in the year 2015. Now we have to find the largest number which divides 70 and 125 and it leaves remainder 5 and 8. That means the remainder of those are 5 and 8. Now we can see it is given that on dividing 70 by the number that which is we don't know, it gives remainder 5, which means 70 minus 5 will be equal to 65, which is exactly divisible by our required number. That is the number which we don't know, that we have to find out. Similarly for 125 the remainder is 8. So 125 minus 8 is equal to 117. It will also be exactly divisible by the required number. So now we will see the factors of it. So 65 factor is equal to 5 into 13, and 117 when we factorize it, it gives 3 raised to 2 into 13, that is 3 into 3 into 13. So we will find out the HCF. Now the highest common factor is 13, therefore our required number will be equal to 13. Now the next question is, find the prime factorization of the denominator of rational number expressed as 6.12. That means 2 is, it keeps on recurring, that it goes on. So it is in simplest form. Now this question has appeared in the year 2014. Now we have to find the prime factorization of the denominator of the rational number which is expressed in the form of 6 upon 6.12. You can see that 2 it goes on, it is non-terminating. Now we will take x, we will take it as 6.12. Now what we will do, we will multiply both the side by 100. So it gives 100x is equal to 612.12. When we with this two equation we will give as 1 and 2. When we subtract this equation 1 from 2, it gives 99x is equal to 606. When we take 99 on the other side, it divides. So x is equal to 606 upon 99. We can again reduce it. So it becomes 202 upon 33. So x is equal to what? It is equal to 33. Therefore our prime factorization of 33 is 3 into 11. Now next question. Complete the following factor tree and find the composite number x 2000. Now this question has appeared in the year 2014. Now we can see a factor tree is given and x and y it's given. Now we have to find the composite number x. Okay, x, you can see the factors. It is 3, 195, 3, y, 5, 30. So y we can find it out, it is nothing but 5 into 13 is equal to 65. Similarly for x also we can find out, it is nothing but 3 into 195 which is equal to 585. So our x value, that is our composite number, is 585. Now the next question is, prove that 2 plus 3 root 5 is an irrational number. Now this question has appeared in the year 2014. Now we have to prove that 2 plus 3 root 5 is an irrational number. So let's see how to solve it. Now what we will do, now we will take this 2 plus 3 root 5 as irrational. We will consider it first as rational. Okay, we have to prove irrational. So first we will take it as it is irrational. So we can find the integers, that is a and b should not be equal to 0, where you can write 2 plus 3 root 5 in the form of a upon b, and you know a upon b are co-prime numbers. Now when we rearrange this equation, we get, that means when we take 2 on the other side, it gives 3 root 5 is equal to a upon b. 2 plus 2, it goes on the other side, it becomes minus 2. Now we can cross multiply it, so it becomes 3 root 5 is equal to a minus 2b upon b. Root 5 is equal to a minus 2b upon, when we take that 3 on the other side, it divides, so it becomes 3b. Now we can separate it, so it becomes a upon 3b minus 2b upon 3b. That 2b it get cancelled, so root 5 is equal to a upon 3b and minus it remains 2 upon 3. Since a and b are integers and we have got a root 5 as a upon 3b minus 2 3, and you know it is rational, and so we can say that root 5 is also rational. So now it is contradicting our statement that root 5 is irrational. So we can say that 2 plus 3 root 5 is irrational. Now the next question is, explain why 17 into 5 into 11 into 3 into 2 plus 2 into 11 is composite number. Now we have to explain why this term is, or this expression is composite number. We have to explain it. Now in the question it is given 17 into 5 into 11 into 3 into 2 plus 2 into 11. It is given the question. We will give it equation as 1. Now what we will do, we will take 2 into 11 as common. So 2 into 11 into, and it remains 17 into 5 into 3 plus 1. Now we will solve the bracket. So it becomes 2 into 11 into 17 into 5 into 3, it gives 255 plus 1. So 2 into 11 into 255 plus 1, it gives 256. Now we can see the equation 1, you can see it is divisible by 2, 11, 256, that is it is having more than 2 prime factors. That means you know the definition of composite number, it should be divisible by the number 1 and more than 2 numbers, and you can see here the prime factors are more than 2. So our term 17 into 5 into 11 into 3 into 2 plus 2 into 11 is a composite number. Now the next question is, check whether 4 raised to n can end with the digit 0 for any natural number n. Now this question has appeared in the year 2015. Now we have to check whether 4 raised to n can end with the digit 0 for any natural number n. That is any natural number n. We have to see whether it ends with 4 raised to n with digit 0. Now you know 4 raised to n is 4. You know factorize, when we factorize it, it is nothing but 2 raised to 2, that is 2 raised to 2 into n raised to n, it is nothing but 2 raised to 2n. Now you can see the only prime factors for 4n is 2, therefore there is no other prime factors for 4 raised to n, that is only 4 raised to n will be equal to 2 raised to 2n. By using our fundamental theorem of arithmetic, you can see 5 does not occur in our prime factorization of 4 raised to n for any n. Therefore, 4n does not end with digit 0 for any natural number n. Now the next question is, can two numbers have 15 as their HCF and 175 as their LCM? Give the reason. We can say that no. Why? We will, let's see it. Now you know LCM is the nothing but product of smallest power of each common factor. So we can say that LCM is always the multiple of HCF. So LCM is equal to, we can say that K into HCF. Now in the question it is given that LCM is equal to 175 and HCF is equal to 50. Now we will put the values in the equation. So it becomes 175 is equal to k into 15. Now when we take 15 on the other side, it divides. So it becomes 175 upon 15, which is equal to k. So when we divide 175 upon 15, it gives 11.67. But in this case, you can see that LCM is not equal to k into HCF. So we can say that two numbers cannot have LCM as 175 and HCF as 15. Now we'll see the next question. Prove that root 5 is irrational and hence show that 3 plus root 5 is also irrational. Now this question has appeared in the year 2012. Now first what we have to prove? We have to prove that root 5 is irrational, and hence we have to show that 3 plus root 5 is also irrational. For that, what we will do? First we will assume that root 5 is rational. So we can find that integers p and q where q should not be equal to 0. Now we can write root 5 in the form of p upon q, where p and q are co-prime. Now what we will do? We will square on both the sides. So when we square root 5, it becomes 5 is equal to p square upon q square. When we take q square on the other side, it becomes 5q square is equal to p square. We will take it as equation 1. Now what we will do? We will divide 5 divides p square, that is 5 divides p. Now we will take let p is equal to 5r. Now what we will do? We will put the value of p in the equation 1, that is 5q square is equal to p square. So we get 5q square is equal to 5r square. So 5q square is equal to 25r raised to 2. Now when we divide 5 with 25, it gives q raised to 2 is equal to 5r raised to 2. Now what we will do? As we have divided and we have got q square as 5r raised to 2. So 5 divides q raised to 2, that means 5 divides q. Now you can see p and q have at least 5 as common factor, but here it contradicts the fact that p and q have no common factor. So the assumption which we have done that root 5 is rational is wrong. That means our root 5 is irrational and 3 is rational number. So we can say that 3 plus root 5 is irrational. Now the next question is 3 bells toll at intervals of 9, 12, 15 minutes respectively. If they start tolling together, after what time will they next toll together? Now that means the bell rings at a regular interval of 9, 12, 15 minutes. Now if they start together to ring, now what will be the next time when it will ring together? So now you know the factors. So we will write first factors of 9, 12 and 15. So 9 factor it is 3 into 3, that is 3 raised to 2. 12, the factors you know 2 into 2 into 3, that is 2 raised to 2 into 3. 15, the factors are 3 into 5. So the LCM of all these 3 numbers are 2 raised to 2 into 3 raised to 2 into 5. 2 raised to 2 it gives 4, 3 raised to 2 it gives 9, and we will write 5 as it is. So 4 into 9 into 5 is equal to 180, that means 180 minutes, which is nothing but 3 hours. That means in 1 hour we have 60 minutes, so in 3 hours it is 180 minutes. Therefore they will next toll together is after how many hours? After 3 hours. Now the next question is 2 tankers contain 850 liters and 680 liters of petrol. Find the maximum capacity of a container which can measure the petrol of each tanker in exact number of times. Now this question has appeared in the year 2012. Now the 2 tanks capacity of holding petrol is what? 850 liters and 680 liters. Now we have to find the maximum capacity a container can measure the petrol of each tanker in exact number of times. So to find the maximum capacity, we will try to find out the HCF of 850 and 680. So what we will do? We will first factorize 850 and 680. So first we will factorize 850. So you can see the smallest prime number 2, it is divisible. So it will be 425. Now 425 is not divisible by 2, 3. So it is directly divisible by 5. So it gives 85. Again 85 divisible by 5. So 5, 17 and 17, 1. Now the next one 680. Now we will factorize it. 2, it is divisible, so 3, 40. Again it is divisible by 2, 170. Again it is divisible by 2, it gives 85. Now it is not divisible by 2, 3, 4. It is directly divisible by 5. So it gives 17 and 17 will be divisible by 17. So the factors of 850 is equal to 2 into 5 into 5 into 17, which is nothing but 2 into 5 raised to 2 into 17. Similarly for 680, the factors are 2 into 2 into 2 into 5 into 17, that is nothing but 2 raised to 3 into 5 into 17. Now we will write the highest common factors of it. They are 2 into 5 into 17, which is equal to 175. Therefore, the maximum capacity of the container is equal to how many liters it can hold? 170 liters. Now, the next question is the length, breadth and height of a room are 8 meter 50 centimeter, 6 meter 25 centimeter and 4 meter 75 centimeter respectively. Find the length of the longest rod that can measure the dimensions of the room exactly. Now this question has appeared in the year 2015. Now in the question, length, breadth and height of a room is given. What it is length, we will take L, which is equal to 8 meter 50 centimeter, which is nothing but 850 centimeter. Breadth we will take it as B, 6 meter 25 centimeter, that is 625 centimeters. And height we will take it as H, which is equal to 4 meter 75 centimeter, that is 475 centimeter. Now we have to write the factorization form of each. So 850 factors are 2 raised to 1 into 5 raised to 2 into 17. Breadth 625 centimeter, the factors are 5 raised to 4. Height, which is equal to 475 centimeter, and the factors are 5 raised to 2 into 19. Now the HCF of length, breadth and height is nothing but 5 raised to 2, which is equal to 25 centimeter. Therefore, the length of the longest rod is equal to 25 centimeter. Now the next question is 3 alarm clocks ring at intervals of 4, 12 and 20 minutes respectively. If they start ringing together, after how much time will their next ring together? Now this question has appeared in the year 2015. Now there are 3 alarm clocks and it rings at an interval of 4, 12 and 20 minutes. Now if we start ringing all the 3 clocks together, now we have to find by how much time it will next ring together. Now to find it, we have to find the LCM of 4, 12 and 20. So we will write the factors. So the 4 factor is 2 into 2, which is 2 raised to 2. 12 factors are 2 into 2 into 3, that is 2 raised to 2 into 3, and the 20 factor is 2 into 2 into 5, that is 2 raised to 2 into 5. Now we will take the LCM of all the 3 numbers, that is 2 raised to 2 into 3 into 5, which is equal to 60, that is 60 minutes. So the clock which will ring together is after 60 minutes, which is nothing but it is after 1 hour all the clock will ring together. Now the next question is, in a school there are 2 sections A and B of class 10th. There are 48 students in section A and 68 students in section B. Determine the least number of books required for the library of the school so that the books can be distributed equally among all the students of each class. Now this question has appeared in the year 2017. There are 2 sections A and B of class 10. And how many students are there in section A? 48. How many students are there in section B? 60 students. Now we have to find the least number of books required so that the books can be distributed equally among all the students of each section. So to find the least number of books, we have to find the LCM of 48 and 60. So first we will factorize the numbers. So 48 we can factorize it as the least common, the least smallest prime number is 2. So it is 2, 24. Again it is divisible by 2, it is 12. Again by 2, 6. Again by 2, 3. Now 3 it is divisible by 3. Our next number 60, we can factorize it. The smallest prime number 2, it is 30. Again divisible by 2, 15. Now 15 is not divisible by 2. The next number, smallest prime number is 3. So it is 3, 5, and 5 is divisible by 5. So the factors of 48 are 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 3, that is 2 raised to 4 into 3. And the factors of 60 are 2 into 2 into 3 into 5, that is 2 raised to 2 into 3 into 5. Now we will take the LCM of both the numbers. So the LCM are 2 raised to 4 into 3 into 5. So 2 raised to 4 it is 16. 16 into 3 into 5 it is 15. So 16 into 5 is equal to 240. Now we will see how to solve the 4-mark question. So our first question is, there are 104 students in class 10 and 96 students in class 9 in a school. In a house examination, the students are to be evenly seated in parallel rows such that no two adjacent rows are of the same class. Now, there are how many students in class 10? 104, that is 104 students are there in class 10 and 96 students are there in 9th standard. Now we have to arrange them for an exam, and the condition is that in the two adjacent row the students of same class should not be seated. Okay. Now what we have to find out? We have to find out the maximum number of parallel rows of each class for the seating arrangement. The second, we have to find the number of students of class 9 and also the number of students of class 10 in a row. Now the third question, what is the objective of school administration behind such an arrangement? That means why they are making such an arrangement, that we have to find out. So let's begin. You can see this question has appeared in the year 2013. Before finding the sub-question answer, first what we will do? We will factorize the numbers. So 104 we will factorize. So the smallest prime number is 2. You can see it is divisible, 52. Again it is divisible by 2, which gives 26. Again 26 is divisible by 2, which gives 13. You know 13 is prime number, so it gets divided by the number itself, that is 13. Now we will factorize 96. 96 you can see smallest prime number 2, it is divisible, so 48. Again 48 is divisible by 2, it gives 24. Again 24 is divisible by 2, it gives 12. Again 12 is divisible by 2, it gives 6. Again 6 is divisible by 2, it is 3. Now 3 is divisible by 3. So the factors are 104, that is 104 factors are 2 into 2 into 2 into 13, that is 2 raised to 3 into 13. And 96 factors are 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 3, that is 2 raised to 5 into 3. Now what we will do? The first it is said that find the maximum number. So first we will find the SCF. The SCF of both the numbers is equal to 2 raised to 3, which is equal to 8. So the number of rows of students in class 10, it will be 104 upon 8, which is equal to 13, and the maximum number of rows of students in class 9, it will be 96 upon 8, which is equal to 12. Therefore the total number of rows is equal to how much? 13 plus 12, which is equal to 25. Now the second question, what they have said, find the number of students of class 9 and 10th in a row. So we will see how to find it out. So number of students of class 9th in a row is 8. Similarly, number of students of class 10 in a row, it is also equal to 8. Now why this sitting arrangement is done? That is our third question. Why? Because the exam should be conducted in a fair and clean manner, and no student should take the help of other students while writing the exam. That is the main motto, that the students are arranged in such a particular arrangement. Now the second question is, Dudnath has two vessels containing 750 ml and 405 ml of milk respectively. Milk from this container is poured into glasses of equal capacity to their brim. Find the number of glasses that can be filled. Now Dudnath has two vessels. In one vessel 750 liters of milk is there, and in other vessel 405 liters of milk is there. Now what he is doing, he is pouring the milk into glasses of equal capacity into a bread. Now we have to find the minimum number of glasses that can be filled. So to find the minimum number of glass, what we will do, we will find the HCF of 750 and 405. So in the first vessel, how many liters is there? 750. In the second vessel, 405. So the HCF of 750 and 405 will be, so factorization we will do it. So 750 factors are 2 raised to 4 into 3 raised to 2 into 5, and the factors of 405 are 3 raised to 4 into 5. So the HCF of these two numbers will be 3 raised to 2 into 5, which is equal to 45 ml, and that is the capacity of glass. Now we have to see the number of glass filled. So the number of glass filled from first vessel is equal to 750 upon 45, which is equal to 16, and number of glass filled from second vessel is equal to 405 upon 45, which is equal to 9. Therefore, total number of glass is equal to 16 plus 9, which is equal to 25. Now the third question is, Amita, Suneha and Raghav start preparing a card for all persons of an old age home. In order to complete one card, they take 10, 16 and 20 minutes respectively. If all of them start together, after what time will they start preparing a new card together? Now this question has appeared in the year 2013. Now you can see all of three are preparing a card for an old age home, where people staying at the old age home. Now for completing one card, Amita is taking 10, Suneha is taking 16 and Raghav is taking 20 minutes respectively. Now when they are making the card, when they start together, now we have to find it out after how many time they will start preparing the card again together. So to find the preparing a card, the time taken, we will take the LCM. So the LCM we will take of 10, 16 and 20. So the factors of 10, you know, it is 2 into 5. 16, the factors are 2 into 2 into 2 into 2, that is 2 raised to 4. The factors of 20 is 2 into 2 into 5, that is 2 raised to 2 into 5. The LCM of all these three numbers are 2 raised to 4 into 5. 2 raised to 4 is equal to 16 into 5, which is equal to 80 minutes. Therefore, they will start preparing a new card together after 80 minutes. Now the next question is, if two positive integers x and y are expressible in n terms of primes as x is equal to p raised to 2, q raised to 3 and y is equal to p raised to 3 into q, what can you say about their LCM and HCF? Is LCM a multiple of HCF? Explain. Now here you can see two positive integers are there. They are expressible in the form of x is equal to p raised to 2 into q raised to 3 and y is equal to p raised to 3 into q. Now we have to see LCM and HCF, and we have to find out whether LCM can be a multiple of HCF. Now in the question it is given x is equal to p raised to 2 into q raised to 3 and y is equal to p raised to 3 into q. Now the LCM will be p raised to 3 into q raised to 3 and the HCF will be p raised to 2 into q. Now we give it as equation 1. Now LCM, you know, it is p raised to 3 into q raised to 3. Now what we will do, we will take p q common, that is p q raised to 2 into p raised to 2 into q. Now in the bracket p raised to 2 into q is nothing but our HCF. So in place of p raised to 2 into q, we can write HCF. Therefore our LCM is equal to p into q raised to 2 HCF. We will give it as equation 1. Now you know that LCM is a multiple of HCF. Now we have to explain it. For explaining it, we will take A as 12. And the factors of 12 are 2 into 2 into 3, that is 2 raised to 2 into 3, and B we will take it as 18, and the factors of 18 are 2 into 3 into 3, that is 2 into 3 raised to 2. Now the HCF of these two are 2 into 3, which is equal to 6. Now we will give it as equation 2. and LCM are 2 raised to 2 into 3 raised to 2, which is equal to 36. That is 2 raised to 2 in 36, we can write it as 6 into 6. Our LCM is equal to 6 times of HCF. That is from equation 2 we have already got it. So hence LCM will be 6 times of HCF. Now the next question is, show that one and only one out of n plus 1 and n plus 2 is divisible by 3, where n is any positive integer. Now this question has appeared in the year 2015. Now here three positive consecutive integers are given, that is n plus 1 and n plus 2. These are our three consecutive positive integers. We know that n is in the form of, we can say 3q plus 1, 3q plus 2. Now in the first case, when we will put n is equal to 3q, we can say that n is divisible by 3, but n plus 1 and n plus 2 will not be divisible by 3. Now our second case is when n is equal to 3q plus 1. In this case, when we take n plus 2, when we put the value of it, it becomes 3q plus 1 plus 2, which is equal to 3q plus 1 plus 2, which is equal to 3. When we take 3 as common, it gives 3 into q plus 1. That is our n plus 1 is divisible by 3. But again n and n plus 2 is not divisible by 3. Now our third case is what? When n is equal to 3q plus 2. In this case, when we put n plus 1 value as 3q plus 2 plus 1, it gives 3q plus 3. When we take the 3 again common, it gives 3 into q plus 1. Here also n plus 1 is divisible by 3, but n and n plus 1 is not divisible by 3. Hence we can say that only one and only one out of n plus 1 and n plus 2 is divisible by 3. Now the next question is, find the HCF and LCM of 306 and 657 and verify that LCM into HCF is equal to product of the two number. Now we have to find the HCF and LCM of 306 and 657, and we have to verify that LCM into HCF is the product of the two number. For that, what we will do, first we will factorize both the numbers. So the factors of 306 is 2 into 3 raised to 2 into 17. Now the factors of 657 is 3 raised to 2 into 73. Now what we will take? First we will take the HCF. Now the HCF of these two numbers are 3 raised to 2, which is equal to 9. The LCM of these two numbers are 2 into 3 raised to 2 into 7 into 17 into 73, which gives 22,338. Now first what we will do, we will take the left hand side of that equation, that is LCM into HCF. Now LCM value you have got it, it is 22,338 into HCF you know it is 9. When we multiply it, we get 201042. Now our right hand side it is saying that product of the two numbers. So our two numbers are 306 and 657. So when we multiply it, we get 201042. That means our left hand side and right hand side both are equal. So hence we have verified it. Now the next question is, show that any positive odd integer is of the form 4q plus 1 or 4q plus 3, where q is a positive integer. Now this question has appeared in the year 2016. Now we had to show that positive odd integer which is in the form of 4q plus 1 or 4q plus 3, and where q is a positive integer. Now what we will take? Let a be the positive odd integer. Now we will apply Euclid's division algorithm, which says that a is equal to 4q plus 3. And here it is saying that q and r are positive integers, 0 which is less than equal to r which is less than 4. Now we can say that a is equal to 4q, or we can say that 4q plus 1 or 4q plus 2 or 4q plus 3. And you can see 4q and 4q plus 2 both are even, therefore a is in the form of 4q plus 1 or 4q plus 3.